I'm typically one of those guys that says, hey, man, especially for proven players. I think it was Bregman one year with you and I, Ron, and doing a live broadcast from down at what was Minute Maid Park. I remember going, hey, man, be patient with Bregman. Now, in the playoffs, when you get into the play, now it's time to make some moves. We're in win or go home mode.
That's right. Dusty eventually just dropped into the seventh.
Yeah. So
in the World Series.
I'm typically a firm believer in that, especially when it's proven vets, y'all. But I am very, very fascinated with this Christian Walker situation. Christian Walker today was 1 for 4 today. Got a hit late. He's hitting 199 right now, and it's not been good. Would you say he's 3 for his last 38, which that makes him 4 for 39, I believe, if I heard you right.
He did get a hit today.
Yeah, he got the hit today.
He got a hit in his last at bat, so he's
4 for 39, right?
Well, this is not good.
But I know that the first base situation with the Astros has the fans' attention. Look, it seems like even the first base situation even has the fans' attention that are typically, hey, man, it's a long season, be patient. A good chunk of that group, I think, is looking at first base with a little bit of a side eye there. Christian Walker has been, it's just been an absolute just disappointment at first base so far with the bat. I mean, he is brought in a time when you lose, Walker comes. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but for me, I expected him to fill in nicely with Altuve and with Yordan Alvarez and be a steady force as a veteran bat.
He was supposed to be one of the top 3 bats in the lineup.
Yeah, man. And instead, we've seen a struggle. Like, I think y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, I think right now forget the expectations of who he is, just the everyday starters. I think he's the one that has just continued to struggle from jump.
Yeah, it's got better. I thought he was pressing at the beginning, and then after a bit, and I think he's continued, and I think moved down in the lineup. He dropped to the 5th spot. I bet potentially that pressing may get worse.
How many multi-hit games does Christian Walker have this season, if any?
I bet it's less than. I bet it's 3.
Because, I know I've seen him hit a homer or 2. Maybe it is.
He had 2 hits.
But it's just never consistent. The guy can't get multiple hits in a game.
He had 2 hits, I believe, the first game of the Rangers series. I think that was the last.
This is supposed to be our first baseman that could hit for the first time in years.
They brought him in to hit behind Yordan.
Son of a bitch.
Well, that's where I want to go with this, guys. Is I think we've watched and we've been frustrated with the first base situation since I guess it was the last year Hughley was here when he struggled all regular season. Luckily, when they got into the playoffs, he swung the bat well then, so we could at least justify with it when it mattered the most. He came around a little bit, but I think that year first base was a disappointment. I think when you obviously those two were disappointments, which got worse the longer he was with the further along we got in that 2-year span. And I only say all that to say there is a real PTSD, not just with the fan base. I wonder if this organization actually has a PTSD of like, hey man, we just can't let our 4 and 5 hole hitter and our first baseman just all year long continue to be a dead bat in this lineup that doesn't come through for us. I wonder if the PTSD is real, like beyond just the fan base.
Well, I think you're talking about in the front office, the decision makers.
Yeah.
It may be there, and I think even bigger though is, see, you had Abreu, but you had Bregman and you had Tucker, like they were both in the lineup. Like Abreu was not brought here to you thought, all right, in this lineup, we're like he's a complimentary piece. We got Altuve, we've got Bregman, we've got Yordan, we've got Tucker, we got 4 guys right there, and this guy's gonna hit fit or be the complimentary guy. That's not what Christian Walker is supposed to be. When you walked into this year, we got Altuve, you got Yordan. Maybe Diaz ahead of him, but I don't even think that is the case. I think with Christian Walker, you brought him in $20 million a year, just like you gave Abreu. He's supposed to be one of your top 3 guys. You don't have the luxury of having Tucker and Bregman here to offset him. Now, Paredes is trying to be in that space. base, but that makes this different to where I think Dana and them, they gotta really look at it because it's in your fifth guy.
Yes, absolutely. He's playing a bigger role than Abreu and even Hughley, obviously. So is there a PTSD that's reeled beyond the fan base to the front office? And could that lead to the way they handle the first base situation, maybe with a little bit more sense of urgency than we've seen it in the past, right? And then I think there's a couple more things here, Ron. I think when you look at Zach DeCinzo and you look at Yainer Diaz, both of those guys can play first base. And I know DeCinzo has played above, well done, has played better than expected, and Diaz has shown some flashes, but has still not made the stride that we all hoped. But you've got two guys there that can also play first base, right? Then you've got, stay with me here, you got Caratini, who is a switch hitter, one of a handful of left-handed bats in this lineup. He's swinging the bat really well. And you want to try, you may be in a position where you have to get his bat in the lineup sooner rather than later. And then you're going to have Jordan come back, and he's going to fill the DH role. So you're going to have less slots for all these guys to get swings. And so I just wonder, Ron, ultimately, if the leash, which I think it has to be, if the leash is shorter with Christian Walker and the lack of production at the first base position for the Astros, given all the circumstances that we just lined up, right? Christian Walker is more important than Hughley was. He's more important than Abreu was in this lineup. DeCinzo's base and have swung the bat better than Christian Walker. Caratini is a left-handed bat and has swung the bat better than any of the above. And Jordan comes back as the DH, and you have one less position to get all these guys swings. It seems like there could be a chance that Joe Espada and whoever the decision makers are make a decision with a little more sense of urgency than we've seen them in the past with that first base position.
My question to you, because I think Tyler looked it up yesterday and said by this time they had sent Abreu to the California Penal League or the Florida Penal League at this point.
Gulf Coast Penal League.
He was on vacation at this moment last year. Yeah.
Like, how far? Because we've already arrived here at May 21st, where he has dropped him in the lineup. He hit 35 times in the cleanup spot. We've now arrived to he's in the 5 spot. Whenever Jordan's hand gives him the ability to come back, we're probably pretty sure that there is going to be a drop maybe there. Clint, how far away do you think, or how bad does it have to get, do you think, for Joe Espada, Dana Brown, because that ain't just a Joe Espada decision, before they have to act and maybe get more into the DeCinzo can play first platoon situation? Diaz can.
I just think, Ron, that I mean you hit the nail on the head with it. That bat is more important. And if you're not going to produce at a top level, you have to get more bats in the lineup. It's more important that you get the hot bats in the lineup. It's more important that you get bats in the lineup that have produced over the year. And because again, it's just not the same baseball team. I mean, you don't have the luxuries that former Astros teams have had. At least I don't think you do. And so maybe a little different approach for all those reasons is warranted here. I've got to believe, I know as a fan for me, and I'm a Christian Walker guy. I was hoping Christian Walker would come in here, and I think everybody was hoping. But, I mean, I wanted to be a fan of the guy, and I want to stick in there with him. But, damn, I mean, it is just I've gotten into the PTSD. Like the PTSD of Abreu has become a thing with me. And, hell, I was a guy that was a little bit more patient with all of the above. And it's starting to affect me as a fan.
His importance and the injury to Jordan has heightened it.
Yeah,
we'll get all these
absolutely.
And now Altuve was kind of struggling. Now he did get a couple of hits yesterday, which is good. But yeah, it's heightened.
Yeah, absolutely.